Hello everyone, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today I'm returning to Strategic Command World War II War in Europe. And today this is part 5, I think it is, of my Let's Play series looking at the game. In our last live stream, because this is a live stream right now on YouTube, we went a little bit further than the invasion of France. We haven't invaded France. In the last episode, I took over Norway and Denmark, basically through scripted events, which allowed me to take them without any resistance. The Allies didn't launch an invasion in northern Norway, so that went over swimmingly, and we didn't... Yeah, I mean, everything went well. One other thing is, I think, in our last run-through, we also sank a British aircraft carrier? No, we didn't. That was in the stream that went after. So, spoiler alert, in that stream last time, after taking Denmark and Norway, I did invade France and Belgium, and I took over Belgium and was driving on Paris, and I think it was like out to October of 1940, and I still hadn't taken France. I was bumbling around. I got the Italian fleet completely destroyed by the French fleet nonetheless, or at least I think it was mostly the French fleet, and decided, you know what, in the interest of a long-term Let's Play, it's probably not ideal to be in that rough a shape. I didn't know what I was doing. Turn after turn, there was a, oops, I forgot about this, or oops, I forgot about that. So I shelved the footage after Norway and Denmark, and have brought myself back to a delayed invasion of France, May 28th of 1940. It should have happened on May 20th. But nonetheless, I've brought myself back to the spring of 1940 to see if we can do better. So that's where we're at right now. We are on the verge of the invasion of France. My forces are horribly positioned, again, because we're going back to where I left off. And yeah, my troops are not ideally positioned to make a rapid advance into Belgium. But nonetheless, we will make an effort of it. Let's take a look here. So I'm just kind of getting back up to speed now. This is part of the way through the May 28th turn. So if we go out here, we'll notice that we've got some submarines, if we can find them, that are still at sea. This guy out here has 5 supply. This guy has no supply. He's already moved, and so has the U-35. So we've got several submarines out at sea. We've just fought a battle where we destroyed a British destroyer, I believe it was. And our ships are a little bit beat up, and they've also already moved. So we've moved quite a few of our forces, not all of them, but a reasonable amount. And let's see here. And also what I'm going to do with Italy is I think I'm going to start repositioning some forces with Italy, because I want to get some armor to North Africa. One thing I learned in that stream last night is that Italy is not well positioned to hold against the British. And I knew that historically Italy got its, ass handed to it by the British in the Middle East. And, I don't want to try and advance on my own. That seems like suicide. I need to wait for the Germans to have resources to commit. I also want to fall back behind the defenses of Tobruk. So I'll try and allow the British to butcher themselves on these defensive positions in Tobruk. That may be a sound strategy. The Italians can fight pretty well behind entrenchments. Additionally, I want to prepare for the invasion of Greece, which Italy will undertake at some point, most likely, or at least they'll try to undertake it. So I'm going to go ahead and move some other forces so that I'm ready to get my troops into position. That won't happen until October, but long story short, I see no value in driving too hard into France when Italy eventually does join the Axis, if only because you're not going to keep any of this territory anyway, unless you go with the full conquest of France option, where you don't accept Vichy France and you're willing to fight a North African campaign to take over Algiers. There's not really much point to invading southern France as Italy. So I'm going to kind of, again, a little bit gamey, a little bit min-maxy, but I'm going to more or less just try and gain some experience in fighting with the French as my Italian forces. but the bulk of my forces are going to be shifting either to North Africa or to Albania to prepare for follow-on attacks. Now, if you remember in our last video, we have begun the work of trying to convince other countries to come to our aid or to our side. We have heavy diplomacy invested in Bulgaria, 25% chance per turn of Bulgaria swinging to our side. One more successful diplomatic effort in Bulgaria will probably bring them into joining the Axis. We'll then shift over to Hungary, Romania, and then maybe Yugoslavia. But I think there's an event where they can actually have a pro-Allied coup, so I'm not sure if that is worth our time or not. We've got some light forces in the east. The USSR is still playing nice. You can see here there's only a 6% chance of them, or only a 6% Allied leaning for them. So right now we're still playing nice with them. But long story short, really right now what we need to do is we need to invade France. And that does involve invading Belgium and potentially the Netherlands. I think I will attack the Netherlands, if only to get more frontage and the ability to maneuver more easily. But I'm going to do that in stages, and that's for somewhat of a gamey reason. If I were to declare war on the Netherlands at the same time as I declare war on Belgium, then any bombing attacks on these targets could be intercepted by Netherlands fighters. So yes, I know it's a little bit gamey, but I think the idea is declare war on Belgium first, launch all your airstrikes to minimize the amount that the enemy can intercept your raids, then declare war on the Netherlands later the same turn. And I suppose you could say it simulates something like Germany invading Belgium 3 days before they attack the Netherlands. I suppose that might have a quasi-realistic reason to do it, but that's my rationale anyway. So we're going to go ahead here. We're going to go to diplomacy. We're going to go ahead and declare war on Belgium. And you'll see here the Americans swing 3% toward the Allies, the Soviets 3% as well. And we're also going to declare war on Luxembourg, which again, a 2% swing by both the USSR and the US. That opens up our ability to swing into Belgium and attempt to overwhelm the Belgian defenses. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start bombing the Belgian troops in near Liège. Now, I'm assuming the enemy has some fighters that are going to come and intercept us. So my first raid is actually going to be with my oldest medium bombers. And there you see, French interceptors. Now we have escorts. These look like Focke-Wulf 190s. And they beat up the French fighters, lose some casualties of their own, but the bombers are safe, and defensive fire inflicts more casualties on the enemy fighters. Meanwhile, you can see here 1 damage done to the Belgian defenders. We could go with another airstrike with some of our bombers, and we'll go ahead and do that. And you'll see here 2 more damage done. No interceptors that time. The enemy air defenses are worn out, I suppose, at this point. So we'll go ahead and we'll move an army unit up here to mop up at Liège, except the enemy survived. That wasn't in the plans. They were supposed to die there. I'm going to see if any fighters can strafe them to death. It doesn't appear so. That sucks. I kind of derailed things a bit. So anyway, so we're going to go ahead and move over to our Stukas. We're going to have them start bombing these fortifications up here. And there you go. They destroyed that enemy unit. Okay, so then this armored unit's going to move in south of Liège, and it will now border Brussels. I think we've got 1 more tactical bomber strike left in us. I think. No, did I use them all up? Wait a minute. There's 1 more. Oh, that's right. I haven't shifted my bombers over here, so I've only got 2 Stuka squadrons at the moment. All right, well, that's lame. Let's go ahead and move these guys. And there you go. So we took over Liège. And I think the answer now is to go ahead, now that we've used all of our air units, is to go ahead and declare war on the Netherlands as well. So go ahead and do that. 4% for the USSR, and US swing further toward the Allies. And then this allows us to use our armor to swing in here. And there you have it. Okay. So more successes. think we just took Antwerp. So there you go. So we took Antwerp from the Belgians. We didn't actually get any of our paratroopers ready for combat yet. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see. I'd like to move here, but it doesn't look like I can. Okay, so we'll attack these infantry here. We won't take the Netherlands or Belgium this turn, but hopefully next turn we'll finish them off, mop them up. Okay. All right, and you can see here we've overrun Luxembourg. That'll be plundered next turn. We have driven into Belgium, threatening Brussels. I'm going to wait to attack Brussels till next turn. I'm going to go ahead and rail some troops in. I wish I could move this guy down here and take this fort. I don't want the enemy to reoccupy it. But not much of a choice. We're going to move some of our air units closer in, because one thing that you do need to do as you fight this campaign is ensure you keep your air units in range of the enemy targets, and that's very easy to lose contact with. In addition to that, we're going to operate some of our forces up here on the Denmark border, my big mistake of leaving those guys way up there, and move them south. We'll also operate these tanks, and move the armor into Belgium. And I think that about does it for this turn. Just waiting to see. We probably want to operate some of these troops in the east, because we will end up needing them. So we'll kind of close our lines up there. And I think that'll about do it for this turn. Let's go back to Italy, because we do have some ships that are needing to be brought up to full strength. So go ahead and do that with our money that we've got there. And that's all of our money there. All right. So next turn we'll be boarding these guys out of transports. Hopefully Italy hasn't joined the war yet, to race them to North Africa before the war erupts. And yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and end the turn and see what the Allies have in store for us. Yeah, I definitely like the way the front line kind of advances or moves back and forth. It definitely plays a role in supply. It's very reminiscent of the way Order of Battle Pacific does it, except this is obviously more of a grand strategy game, and that is more of a tactical or localized operational game. So the British are forming the Home Guard, the old men with broomsticks to defend the British Isles. We'll start to see Allied forces swing into Belgium here to resist, to try and stop our invasion. You can see there that the French attacked Antwerp, or counterattacked there. Didn't work out for them. And you can see the British are bringing the BEF forward as well, maybe to attack Antwerp, maybe just in a defensive position. One thing I really struggle with, and I'm not an expert, I haven't played this game a ton, but one thing I do notice is difficult for me is to force a Dunkirk, where you have a large pocket of troops, trapped up against the coast. I probably should start my armored thrust closer to Luxembourg and swing north. I haven't been able to do that yet, effectively anyway. Okay, you can see the Allies' air is attempting to counter us. We've got some interceptors that are trying to protect our forces, but we've taken some casualties on our armor. Okay. Just hoping Italy stays out of the war one more turn. Maybe, well, actually 2 more turns. Damn, that was a good attack by those. Shit. That armored unit needs to be pulled out. assuming it survives. Those are my most modern tanks, too. Okay, so the USSR annexes the Baltic states. I thought we were supposed to get a chance to annex Lithuania, but apparently if we did, that didn't happen. The U.S. is going to start sending convoys to Britain, a cash and carry rule where the British can show up with money to get arms. Sort of the preliminary pre-Lend-Lease. Okay, let's see. Let's pull this armor back. We're going to have to reinforce it next turn. That's going to put a cramp in our attack. Go ahead and bomb Brussels. The key is Brussels, because again, if you take out the capital, then all of the Belgian forces will surrender the next turn. Okay. More interceptors. At some point I've got to overwhelm them, right? Alright, let's see. All of our Stukas are at full strength, so again, another interceptor, this one Belgians. Again, we've got escorts, but this is a fierce air battle that's occurring over Brussels right now, with the entire Luftwaffe launching airstrikes against Belgian defenders in the capital. There you go, we finally burned through their cap. Move this infantry up here, and they'll take Brussels. Good. Okay. Now, south of Brussels would have been better because, again, the rail line looks to move south, so we probably would have had a cleaner route through, or a more clean route to break through. But alas, was not to be. I generally don't attack just for the sake of attacking. You don't gain a ton by destroying enemy units. You're often better off just, you know, letting them kind of be as you rush for the capital. But in this case, I'm trying to widen our breakthrough, and that's why I'm launching those attacks. So again, there you can see we're driving, trying to force a breakthrough here. And again, I'm attacking here mainly to secure my flank. I'm not attacking just for the sake of attacking. Okay. These Belgian troops are going to surrender next turn, so it's probably not worth it to attack them unless I can ensure... Well, it might be worth it to do this. Uh-oh. I didn't want that to happen. It's only worth it in that I'm, again, expanding the breakthrough here. Or not breakthrough, but the more pressure I can put, the more holes I can punch in the Allied lines, the wider I can make this front and make a quick drive on Paris more easy. And at the end of the day, that's my principal objective here. So, obviously I've got a gap in my own lines. I'll have to plug that. Fortunately, rail lines are awesome. I can just go ahead and say, hey, you guys, jump on a train. Go over here. You're in Luxembourg, and right just like that, you're on the front line. Are there any army units? No. So I'm stripping my eastern front. Fortunately, we're not in a World War I scenario where the Russians are breathing down our neck in the east. I think the original Strategic Command had some sort of mechanism where if you left the east too thinly guarded, that kind of invited a Soviet attack. I don't think this game does that. Okay. The Danes look to be a little bit tougher of a nut to crack than I thought. Again, I just need to get to The Hague. If I can take The Hague, then we beat them, but Seems to be a little bit easier said than done at this point. You can see here we're driving through the French. We've opened up some holes in their lines, putting a little bit of stress on them, on their front. We'll move some of these fighters. Well, these guys got beat up pretty bad in intercept missions. Actually, my entire fighter force kind of got chewed up a bit. I've got one down here that's fresh. We'll fly them up to Liege. They'll be able to protect some of these guys. Let's see here. These guys can't reinforce. I don't know what I just did that for. Okay, so moved a few of our fighter units forward. And that's going to be that. Let's get this cruiser out of the way. Transport our tank. And get him down to Africa ASAP. So moving our tank down there. Move the infantry next. Gonna move these guys into Albania. Again, I don't think we need too much in the way to hold the French back. I don't think the French will launch a counterattack into Italy. So I think we're relatively safe there. Pull our warships back that were bloodied a bit. Pretty badly, actually. And we're going to go ahead and switch these guys. Actually, no, we're going to keep them where they are. I'm not going to waste time sending them around England when hopefully before they even would have been able to get back, we've taken France and we can just sail them down the channel. Riskily, but I've got a plan to get them through the channel intact. Okay, these guys have 4 supply left. We're going to move them a little bit to a different convoy location. Meanwhile, U-30 moves much slower due to being out of supply, so we're actually going to kind of slowly move it toward France because it takes forever with 0 supply to get it back to base. So I'm just going to move it toward France and assume it'll get dealt with shortly. I think that just about does it for this turn. Yeah. So we've got some money, but I'm going to keep that on ice for the moment. Actually, let's jump that into some research. So Germany will spend that on infantry weapons, improve our infantry weapons, and advanced tanks. So spending some money to research some advanced tanks and infantry weapons for the Germans. The Italians don't have enough money to do any of that. Got to get ahead on research now so that we can have some wonder weapons a little bit early and give us an edge, because eventually we're going to be heavily outnumbered. And that does that. So we'll go ahead and end the turn. French morale suffers due to German advances. Belgium surrenders. We plunder 134 MPPs from Belgium. USSR annexes Bessarabia from Romania. That should drive them closer to the Axis. German morale's boosted, thanks to outflanking the Maginot Line. Obviously, the soldiers didn't want to invade France through forts. Foreign Minister reports diplomatic success, and Bulgaria shifts toward the Axis. That should put them in the 90% camp, so they should be very close, if not ready, to join the Axis. Okay. French are pulling back a bit. At least these units are. Still a pocket of troops north. And the British and their damn bombers hitting our tanks. Okay, so it looks like they bombed the industry there. The tanks themselves were not harmed, and I'm okay with that. Losing a couple of industrial points to enemy bombing is certainly preferable to losing armor that would cost more than the industrial points we lost in the first place. So once we get this one unit out of the way, we're going to have a much more open road toward Paris. We'll have to deal with Reims as well. Limited French attack out of the Maginot Line near Strasbourg. British attack on our northern flank. The funny thing is, these guys moving toward the Dutch border actually makes our job easier to take The Hague, because now we can get multiple units along the front. And again, all you have to do is take the capital. So this was actually a bad move. What the AI should have done was crowd its forces up so that we could only attack one unit at a time. So Bulgaria is preparing for war. That's good for us. Brussels damaged from bombing. Alright. So back to Italy before I forget. These transports. Bringing our armor in. There you go. Reinforcing ourselves in North Africa. Go ahead and transport these guys as well to North Africa. I think we'll probably end up at war next turn, so that's the last kind of freebie, if you will. You know, all these guys, we're going to keep marching them to save money from operating. We'll leave these guys as is, and we're just going to kind of bomb and skirmish with the French when Italy goes to war with them. Looks like the French did close their lines up some. No longer a open road. Go ahead and reinforce these guys to maximum strength. I moved this unit just to get some intel on these French troops on our way. Now, the French armor was actually very good. French armor was superior to German armor, actually. They just didn't have enough of it, and doctrinally it wasn't used very wisely. But 1-to-1, they'll actually outperform our tanks. Or damn interceptors. Okay. Now, theoretically, the Stuka is a tank buster, so it should be effective at destroying these things. Didn't want to have to use all my Stukas on it. But there you go. French unit destroyed with very little loss on our side. We've got one more air unit left. We'll go ahead and bomb Reims with it. Okay. And there you have it. A breakthrough. Breakthrough at Reims. Here I'm actually attacking these guys just because they're British. And the more British units I can destroy, the better. Okay. Alright, so Denmark will fall next turn. Can we strafe these guys to death? I don't think I have any bombers left. Where? Pretty much all my fighters are used up. I don't want to do that. Okay, so we're moving our armor. All right. There you go. Okay. That's all I wanted to do. Granted, I took a loss that I'd prefer not to. But nonetheless, we successfully took out that British unit, destroyed it. All right, and that's going to do it for episode 5 of my Strategic Command Let's Play. We've successfully conquered Belgium, and the Netherlands will fall as soon as we end our turn here. So far, the invasion of France is going according to plan, and we're driving on Paris, so all things are good so far. But in order to see what happens next, you'll have to tune into episode 6, which should be out in a couple of days. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out. Bye-bye now!